Fernando Mendoza is widely viewed by NFL scouts as the QB1 in the 2026 NFL draft if he does declare. And for some evaluators, he's a legitimate number one overall candidate. But what's important here isn't the label, it's why his evaluation has reached this level. This isn't being driven by highlight throws, raw arm strength, or gaudy numbers. It's being driven by something far more predictive at the NFL level, and it consistently shows up when the game speeds up the most. Now, in this breakdown, I'm going to walk you through the two critical traits that are driving Fernando Mendoza's NFL draft stock and why NFL scouts absolutely love what they are seeing on his tape. So the first trait to discuss here is his mental processing. We often hear about how fast a quarterback gets the football out. So we use measures like time to throw as a way to evaluate from a data standpoint. Then when you watch the tape, you look to see what that looks like from the pocket or out of structure. All of those different variables come into play. Now, as an analyst, when you are measuring time to throw or from an advanced data standpoint, you are looking at the duration from the time the ball is snapped to the release point of the throw from the quarterback's hand. Now, if we're using PFF's time in the pocket measure, it is defined as a tool that shows which quarterbacks are holding onto the football the longest and how that impacts their overall performance. PFF breaks this down in three different ways: a quarterback's overall time to throw, and how his grades and efficiency look on throws under 2.5 seconds versus throws over 2.5 seconds. Now, 2.5 seconds might seem like an arbitrary number, but it's not. It is an actual benchmark widely used across the NFL to evaluate quarterback performance. Now, if we look at 2025 NFL quarterbacks and compare throws under and over 2.5 seconds, the value of this data becomes clear immediately. For example, Jared Goff, he ranks top 3 in average time to throw at 2.58 seconds across 577 total dropbacks. Now, on throws under 2.5 seconds, Goff ranks 5th in PFF grading across the entirety of the NFL. But when he's forced to hold the ball longer than 2.5 seconds, he falls to 21st in the league. That decline is largely tied to his limited mobility. Now, on the other hand, you've got a quarterback like Joe Burrow, whose average time to throw sits at 2.77 seconds, and he ranks 16th overall in the NFL. On throws under 2.5 seconds, he grades as the 3rd highest quarterback in the league. And on throws over 2.5 seconds, he ranks 2nd overall. Now, the overall point here is that you don't have to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson level mobile to succeed on both sides of this equation. You simply just need to be adequate enough in your ability to process from both a clean and dirty pocket. And when things start to break down, you need to have just enough functional athleticism to extend and create on the move. So how does Mendoza measure up in this particular category? In 2025, Mendoza recorded a 2.7 second average time to throw across all dropbacks. On throws under 2.5 seconds, he ranked 3rd in efficiency with an 83% adjusted completion rate. Now, on throws extending beyond 2.5 seconds, he ranked 8th overall with an on-target adjusted completion rate of 73%. So when it comes to the mental processing aspect of all of this, getting the ball out quickly when the primary read is available, Mendoza is absolutely elite. And when the play takes a little bit longer to develop or he's forced to extend the play, he remains a very high-level performer in this particular area. That leads to the next layer of mental processing, how the data translates to the tape, specifically his ability to make throws while under pressure. There are countless instances when Mendoza is under pressure, and instead of escaping early, he holds firm in the pocket before ripping a seam ball or an out route with high-level accuracy. In 2025, his accuracy under pressure ranked at the top of college football. More importantly, the production showed up in critical moments. On the road against Penn State, against Ohio State in the Big Ten title game are two great examples of games where he was in critical moments, high leverage situations, and he was able to make plays, whether he was on the move, taking a hit, posting an adjusted completion rate of 73% in those particular situations. Now, the second trait is his accuracy and his anticipation. We can revisit the processing elements we just discussed. What does Mendoza's accuracy look like when his process is clean and the ball comes out in under 2.5 seconds? Well, we already know that he is absolutely elite in this particular category. What happens when he has to move off of his first read, though, when he has to speed things up or buy time beyond that 2.5 second threshold? Well, he is also very high level in this particular area as well. And when he is under pressure, we already know his accuracy holds up at a very high level there as well. So how do we evaluate the anticipation? How do we evaluate that accuracy when he's taking a hit or when he's under pressure? That's where the film absolutely has to come into play. You need actual tape to see it. And Mendoza consistently provides those examples. If you are to flip on any of his game tape or any of the all 22 out there, you will be able to see that he holds up under pressure and he's able to deliver at a high level in key critical situations. All right, so let's take a look at one play here that's really representative of what we're talking about when it comes to his high level accuracy and anticipation and his ability to process things quickly. Okay, pre-snap, Indiana is in 11 personnel, aligned in a 2x2 set with max protection built in. Mendoza is in the gun, and Oregon is showing a split safety look with pressure potential coming from the boundary at the bottom of the screen. Now watch the boundary corner here. Once he triggers downhill as a blitzer, this is where the processing comes into play. Mendoza is immediately going to recognize the coverage has to rotate, and that is the trigger. That is the indicator for Mendoza here, and he knows right away where he's going to go with this football. And as you can see up top, as this route progresses here, as we click through this, the receiver is selling vertical and the corner is still in phase. Now there's no separation on this route yet. This is still a fully covered route, but Mendoza doesn't wait. The ball is out before the receiver makes his break. This is pure anticipation. This is a great connection between the quarterback and receiver, by the way, and he's able to throw to a spot, not reacting to any kind of separation yet. He takes a hit as he delivers this throw, by the way. And as I mentioned, throws under pressure, standing in the pocket, taking that hit on the chin, and still delivering a high-level throw. This is NFL-level stuff right here. His mechanics hold up through this entire rep, by the way. The base stays intact, and the placement is absolutely clean. The football is only where his receiver is able to make this play. This isn't a busted coverage. This is NFL-level processing, timing, and trust with his receiver. This is a bond and a connection that is obviously built up between quarterback and receiver. And it's exactly why NFL scouts believe Fernando Mendoza's game can translate at the NFL level. So as we kind of take a look at the full picture here, Fernando Mendoza's evaluation makes perfect sense. His case as a top 5 and potentially number 1 overall prospect, it's not built on flash. It's built on mental processing, anticipation, and his ability to deliver accurately when the pocket isn't clean and the margin for error is tight. Those are the traits that NFL scouts trust, and those are the traits that tend to hold up when the game speeds up the most. Now, whether or not Mendoza ultimately declares for the 2026 NFL draft or chooses to return to Indiana, his draft stock is already at its peak. He's being evaluated as a quarterback whose game scales up, not one that needs to be rebuilt. Now, I am curious, what are your thoughts? Do you see Fernando Mendoza as the QB1 in the 2026 class? Is he worthy of legitimate number 1 overall consideration? And if you are comparing styles, who does his game remind you of at the next level? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. And if you want more NFL draft quarterback breakdowns just like this, make sure you are locked in here at Football Scout 365.